All right, we're live here. Everyone, welcome. We've got special guests with us today. We're going to be talking about building trust through video. And let me introduce everybody. I want to introduce Peter. Peter, how do you pronounce your last name? Is it Sisson or Sisson?
Sisson.
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 There we go, Peter. Well, let's intro you first, man. Can you give us a 30-second introduction as to who you are?
Sure. I'm a Silicon Valley-based entrepreneur. I've started 4 companies. All of them got what they call product market fit. My background is in and acquired. All of my background now is artificial intelligence, and so I'm the techie geek of the group here. I'm also the guy who designed the product.
Nice, nice. We'll be showcasing your product, which is Yaza, which is perfect. And then Brad, you're helping out as a consultant advisor to this whole process, right?
Yeah, so I come from a pretty deep real estate background, previously Realtor.com, heading up product and lending there. Now I work with one of Silicon Valley's largest tech engineering companies in the prop tech and real estate space. And I met Peter and Trevor literally on a chairlift in Lake Tahoe. And that is how we became friends. 2 chairlifts. And yeah, I said, I'll come along and help you guys out.
That's so awesome. I love that. And then, of course, what makes it work, the real estate agents. We've got Mariana. Mariana, you're with Compass, is that right?
That is, yes.
What area are you out of?
So San Francisco, Bay Area, Santa Clara County, San Mateo County, with a focus on the Mid-Peninsula. So
Nice.
I run my own group, and we sold 84 million last year, just me
Wow.
and 2 other ladies. We're having a lot of fun implementing tech into our day-to-day practice, and that's a little bit about me.
I love that. Thanks, Mariana. That's pretty awesome.
Mhm.
Good numbers there. Will, how about you, buddy? You're also with Compass out of Burbank, or am I wrong?
I'm with Compass. I'm in the Pasadena office, so I kind of cover San Gabriel Valley, San Fernando Valley, Los Angeles. I've got a couple listings in Hollywood Hills right now. Been with Compass a little over a year, and been using Yaza since it came out, and love it.
Nice. And that you're in my neck of the woods, so very cool. Can't believe I hadn't met you yet, Will, but we will. We'll talk. And Dave, you're the only guy from the East Coast, man. You've got your awesome team under a brokerage, and I love the name. It's Help. What is this? Help, Love, Inspire?
Yeah, it's just kind of like our motto. We just have a small little group, and that's just kind of been our focus, each day. As long as we have that frame of reference, then, kind of everything seems to work out all right.
I love that, dude. And how did you end up working with Yaza or testing out their product?
Actually, Brad and I were college buddies at University of Delaware, and I guess through LinkedIn we've stayed connected, and he reached out to me, and I've been implementing video in my day-to-day, and it's been really important for me, and so it seemed like a kind of a cool fit, and so it's been good so far.
I love that. Well, you know what? Let's get into the trust factor of this, and then Peter, I want to show right after exactly what you've created to help out agents, right? Like myself and like these here. But
Okay.
let's start off with Mariana.
Yeah, so, Yaza has just been a platform for me to share with my clients, like say there is a listing that I'm walking through, and obviously it became a lot more prevalent during COVID. Video content was like everything. So started using it in January pretty heavily. And, I think it's probably most useful in sharing content, building my brand. It's an extension of me as the agent, because obviously real estate is sold by the human and not the app. So that's how it's been useful to me.
Can you give me some specifics as to how you're using it? Because the numbers that you have are pretty incredible for such a small team too. So congrats on that. Tell me how you're using it in regards to your listings right now, or just in the field.
Yeah, so, for an example, I prep a lot of properties for market.
Mhm.
I'll get like something that's a fixer-upper, and then have to put lipstick on a pig, which is at least the bare minimum to get something sold here in the Silicon Valley.
Mhm.
A lot of people don't have the imagination nor the time to, sift through shag carpet and peeling paint. So what I do is I do phases and I do updates. I also do a lot of new construction, and during those walkthroughs to share that content, I think it's very important. It's also the creative part of real estate that kind of, brings your attention on social media to the agent and to your brand. A lot of my clients, get attracted by seeing these little clips and these updates. So what's nice about Yaza is that I can also store it on my phone. And I always say, my children, my dogs, my houses, and my 17,000 photos of foundations kind of clog up my memory sometimes. So having these videos being stored on Yaza's space instead of mine is useful.
So it's a place where you're storing all the videos and making them accessible to people that are interested in looking at the properties?
Totally. If you pre-sell new construction, for an example, you're going to want to see these status updates. So it's really easy to just share the link to developers, to clients, to investors. And it's kind of a no-brainer because it's virtually taking you through the actual space. You see every nook and cranny, every little hiccup. You see how the foundation gets poured. And that's probably where I see it mostly useful. An extension of me and selling the product.
Well, you know what? Let's get into what this looks like, and then let's go to Will and to Dave, because now I'm wondering how it looks. So you kind of set that tone. Peter, you're up, man.
I'm up. All right. So what's different about Yaza and everything else that seems to come out of Silicon Valley is we're not trying to eliminate realtors. We're putting realtors in the center of the platform. We're creating a virtual platform. It's a map-based platform where you post videos at the properties on the map. They get ordered into stories about the property. A lot of our agents point the camera at themselves first, and it's really about showcasing the agent, because you have to showcase the agent before you showcase the property. In my opinion, agents have to sell themselves and then they can sell the properties. And rather than just showcasing the properties, Yaza showcases the agents. And I think that's the most important distinction from any other platform coming out of Silicon Valley. We believe that the agents power the real estate industry, that software doesn't sell homes, people sell homes. And so we allow the agent to express themselves. So I'm gonna share my screen, and what you're gonna see is the background of my screen. And in the center, you're gonna see a screen shot from my app, or a live feed from the app itself on my iPhone. So, okay. So right now you can see there's 5 tabs. This is the map tab, and these are posts of properties around the country, just of the people that I follow that show up on my map. So if I don't follow a realtor, then I don't see their posts. But we have a discovery channel where realtors post, and then if I like what they're doing and the stories they're telling and the properties they're talking about, then I can follow that realtor by tapping the follow button in the app. There's also a chat, which is basically just like WhatsApp. It's or iChat. It's a full featured chat where you're sharing videos and you're getting comments, so you can interact with your customers really easily. And then obviously a profile where you manage all your preferences. So let me just take you through a demo. I'm going to take this off the stand here.
Okay.
And I'll do a little, as though I'm a realtor. I have a little bit of cable here. So this is the guest room. And so I would probably start by clicking this to turn the camera on to me. Mm-hmm. And I'd say, hey, I'm Peter Sisson, and I'm showing you 2707 Sacramento Street. First, let's look at the study or office, and then I could switch that. So wait, actually, first I have to press record.
There you go. Perfect.
Whoopsie. So Hi, I'm Peter. I'd like to tell you about 2707 Sacramento Street. Now I can move this over to switch the camera. So now I will look around. I'll talk about the features. I'll talk about possibilities. You'd be able to convert this back into a closet if you wanted. We're in the San Francisco Unified School District. These are the views from the property, et cetera, et cetera. And then once the video is done, you can clip off the ends. There's also a way to lock it on if you want to put it on a stand. And then I can clip the ends of it if I want. And then next, it's guessed my location properly, but one of the things you can only post if you're at the property. Okay. So that kind of prevents, it's a whole other thing about preventing fraud, but we don't have fraud as a problem in the US, but international real estate potentially. So it'll post it at my house. I could add some tags. And in a version that's coming later this year, we'll add all the MLS tags automatically for you. So you can search 3 bedrooms, square footage, etc. I'll just say test for now.
Okay.
EST. And then I can select whether it's public, which means it'll show up in that discovery feed that looks like Instagram that I showed you.
Yeah.
Followers, that means it'll also show up there, but only to people who follow you. Okay. And also appears on the maps of all your followers. So when you post a new property, your customers follow you, it appears on their map automatically and they get notified. So let's now post. I'm going to do a private post. Actually, I'll do a followers post so I can, a public post so I can share it externally.
Nice.
So now it's authenticating it, it's posting it, it posted at my property. Then the next thing that comes up is a sharing window. And I could share it into any of these platforms. Let's say I want to share it into Facebook. So what happens now is it'll pre-populate. I can add a message or a text or whatever I want it to be. I will select now, in this case of Facebook, I have that there. So now it's going to automatically post onto Facebook for me. There's a horrible picture of me. So I will make sure that's only me. And it tells, my name and where I am. And I can say, check out my new listing. I'll just say, check it out, hit next, who I'm showing it to, and share. And now you've posted from onto Facebook. And what's cool is after you posted, I could go into that post and say mark private, which I'm going to do because it's so ugly. And when I make private, not only does it disappear from the maps and the feeds within the app, but it also disappears from everywhere it's been shared publicly. So if you need to control, after a house gets sold, people like that content removed. You can remove it with a switch, and it's gone everywhere. And we have a patent application in for that. So, how your customers use it, I would look for Mariana Pappalardo, say, and search just for her stuff. Okay. Now, most of her stuff is down Peninsula. She has a few properties in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. Let's go down. We can see the pink means they're new listings that I haven't seen yet. And what's cool is you can see how all posts. So along the bottom here, these are all the posts from everybody, or from her rather, because I've filtered by her. But then this area, now it's just going to show the posts in this area. And let's say I want to go to 1525 Winding Way. Mm-hmm. So here, now these videos don't play in Zoom, but you can see all the videos that she's recorded and they become a story. Oops, now what I'm doing here, sorry, I'm swiping. When you swipe, it moves from one property to the next.
I love that.
And if I tap, it moves within the property. So this is her tour of the property. She's narrating it. She's recorded little separate videos of 20, 30 seconds, okay. And they all get stitched together by the app. And you can also see she's done some new videos as well. So that's
how long
basically the core of it.
Peter, how long are the videos? How long can they be?
They can be an hour. The thing about Yaza is because we use a link architecture, everything is recorded with the maximum HD that your camera supports and then immediately moved off your camera so that it doesn't use your memory. And if you think about a way to organize videos and information about properties, a map is the logical way to do it, not a file system with folders. So I think that map interface really adds to the intuitive nature of the app.
I love it, dude. This reminds me of TikTok for real estate.
It is a little bit. It's actually what they call a market network, which Silicon Valley has a name for everything, which is a combination of a social network for realtors with the ability to transact with customers, or at least to build, eventually maybe transact, but at least for now, to show properties, manage contractors. And I think the realtors will be a great job of explaining some of the applications.
All right, one question for you, then I'll go to Will.
Sure.
And that's a question from the audience from Sarah. It says, how is this syndicated? Does it interface with the big search engines like Zillow or Realtor.com, or is this just on the app?
So we're working on deals that will do that. I think, I don't know, Brad, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, happy to. So we're literally working with all the big players at different stages. So from the realtors to the Zillows to the major, essentially real estate platforms out there. What we're really focusing on and double clicking to is making sure the real estate agent themselves, not the platform, but the agent is able to control everything. And so those are some of the negotiations that we have right now. But this is an agent-centric view, and the agent controls how, where, when they want it distributed and when they want it pulled back off. So for example, if Dave decided he wanted to publish a home in Boca or video in Boca Raton, Florida, he can have it there, and 3 days later, if he needs to pull it back, he can pull it off. And so that is an example of putting the agent in control of the syndication versus giving it a one-way, the way that an MLS would, a one-way to one of the major players and them owning, quote, that data. So all this data, this is data that is agents, essentially the agent controls everything they want to do. And that has been the whole thing that Peter and the team have kind of put the premise around before, putting the real estate agent in control of how they share the homes and properties.
All right, I like that. So let me go into Will then. Will, can you give us an example as to how you're using this with your clients that make it a deeper connection, or just show that you're doing other things besides what every other real estate agent is doing?
Yeah, I've been using it a lot I have a couple of investor clients. One guy is actually on the East Coast. He's in DC. He'll send me a message once or twice a month, with a property that he's seen. And I'll use the app to go out and preview the property. And in particular, as you know, Tristan, living in LA, getting a FaceTime live video, a real-time video link in the hills in Hollywood Hills can be tough.
Yeah.
So the Yaza app, though, with video, I can take a 30-second video, and I've done this several times with these guys, and walk through the house, say, hey, I know you were looking for this kind of a lot, and I can share the camera, upload the video, and within 20 seconds, he's received the video and he's responding, and we're having a real-time chat with my use of the video and then him chatting, or actually calling me and talking on the phone at the same time. The phone is and the app, they don't cross out each other. So I can actually have a conversation, turn the app on, video some more things. So, some people might be saying, well, I can do that on my phone right now. You can, but if you're recording the video, it's going to eat up a lot of your memory real quick. Especially if you're doing a lot of these. And like I said, if you don't have Wi-Fi or a good connection, doing a live FaceTime or Zoom kind of a video is really tough. So I use it for that a lot, and I use it for just kind of a market neighborhood videos. I live in the Burbank equestrian neighborhood. We have, I have probably, a couple dozen horses walk by my house every day. And it's a unique neighborhood that a lot of people don't really know about. and unless you're really into horses. But it's a cool feature. And so I've used it to kind of just walk down the street and point out the different, why I think this neighborhood has value for somebody. So if somebody is looking in Burbank and they happen across these videos, they'll be able to see street by street what the quality of the house is. Because I don't know, I'm sure there's a lot of people on here who know that, a particular house on a particular street might be great, but 2 streets over is a real nightmare. And if you could look on the Yaza app and kind of get more of a interpretation from the video, you can look on Google Earth, but without somebody talking you through, and that's what I do for my clients. I talk them through, I know what they're looking for, and I can, advise them and say, look, I know you wanted a bigger kitchen, but if you take this wall down and you open up this window, it'll achieve what you want, and I think you can do it within your budget. That's incredibly helpful for saving them time. He doesn't have to get on a plane and fly out here, or for somebody who's local, especially now with COVID, being able to get to the property, preview it for them, really adds value that separates me from somebody who's just appointment setting and opening doors.
Well, does it keep these
opening
conversations separate, like kind of like per contact? So you get that whole thread for each of them?
Yeah, it's an individual thing. Like Peter showed, you can send it directly to a specific client. You can create a group if you have several people. If it's a husband and wife and they wanted to both look at the video, you can send the video to both of them. But it's private, so it's not going out. So that content, if I don't want to share my interpretation of a particularly hot property that I think is going to sell quickly, and it's a great, whether it's for a first-time home buyer or for an investor, my interpretation of that is going private to my client. If I don't have a client who's interested in that property, but I want to promote it on social media, and I'm like, hey guys, this is the best deal I've seen this week. If you are looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath under $1 million in Burbank, this property is going to sell quickly, and here's why. I think those are the value separators that really make the app different from just using, the tools that we have on the phone. You have to do so many more things to get this. And I open the app, I hit the button, and I'm recording within 10 seconds. And that is it's a great tool. It makes my job easier.
I love it. All right, Dave, tell us how you're using it, man.
Sure. So I'm relatively newer to the app, and I do a lot of lifestyle kind of videos and just try to paint pictures for people about, what the vibe is in a particular neighborhood or a building. So I've been using it like that. And what I've been most impressed with is just the ease of use for me, as well as how good the quality of the video is. I've had, professional videographers, I've had, in the past just worked for, but, you have to have them edit it. It takes a while. It's not real time. So Yaza, to me, helps me kind of create those stories in real time. And like today, I had a new listing. I did some video. I have it for private, but when I upload it on MLS, I can switch it to public. And then that creates another avenue for me to share to other, social media accounts and, kind of get that buzz going. And so it's been fun to mess around with it. And it's actually gotten me one deal under contract so far.
I love it. So this seems to be like a place where you can connect with people a little deeper than the normal places, because I have one agent, she's saying, and it's a good question, saying, not sure I understand the benefit of the ability to take off all the platforms you shared it with, and it remains only on many portals via IDX. So she doesn't completely understand the benefits. Can you any of you talk about how you see that benefit for us agents?
You're talking about the ability to make it disappear after the property's sold?
Yeah, that's partially. The other one is saying why have a separate place to contact them instead of just doing it through either our CRM, or if you're doing it through a portal where you're putting in the video in the portal, right? Why have a separate social media thing where you're connecting with other people through it for
Let me
real
say,
estate?
I'll say one thing and I'll let the realtors jump in, but I think because these videos, they're like avatars of you. So they're in 20 properties at once, and your buyers are browsing those properties and getting to know you and all the tips you have and all the knowledge you have. But it's happening in parallel. It's happening 20 places at once. Remember, you record once, share often, and that means you're not doing 19 FaceTime tours. You're doing one. Okay, you're not doing it over and over again. I don't know if others.
I agree with you, Duke. I love the idea because it's easy. You do it one time, then you're able to share it everywhere, right? And it stays in one place, and you can take your clients all there to see it. But Mariana, what were you going to say?
I said it's the future, you know? I mean, like Instagram, I don't know about you other realtors out there, but, you know, we always try to penetrate every single channel that we possibly can to market our listings and ultimately market ourselves through those listings. So just another channel. It's super useful and practical, but again, from a marketing standpoint, it sets you apart. And why wouldn't you want to set yourself apart when, you know, everyone's sort of hunting for the same game? I see it as a useful tool that I also implement into marketing. And whoever asked that question, I would want to ask them, why wouldn't they want to set themselves apart?
Yeah, I think maybe it's more of a question of truly understanding the product itself, right? Because remember, this is new to everybody listening in.
Of course.
So Mariana, when you introduce this to your clients, can you take us through that process, that conversation? How does that look? How do you bring them in so that they have a buy-in into this?
Well, I mean, I have a story that happened like at the beginning of COVID. I had this family, super duper duper busy. Husband is like head of cloud at a very, very big company. Wife is a medical doctor. They have 2 little kids, 2 and 1 year old. And they were sitting locked up in the city in San Francisco. And they said, oh, can you please record this video of this property, that is not too far away from where I live. And so I went down there and I did like 4 sections of this video and sent it to them in real time. And what was sweet was their son, Navneet, he commented and he's like, hey, Mariana, I see you, and I was able to connect with them and also share the property. So
I love that.
That was one use case where it really worked, and it was very recent.
Well, I think that's part of the building trust, right? I think that's huge because you're taking something that we do often. I'm shooting videos for my clients, and we do these amazing videos too, right? But here it's so specific. Like if Peter reached out to me to say, hey, Tristan, I have a question about this one. And I go out there and I shoot a video just for Peter and send it to him. All of a sudden the relationship changes and there's a deeper trust there. And I think that's what's missing. So Peter, where did the idea come from to create this?
Well, we wanted, it really started with a passion of mine for 2 things, travel and a dream about someday having a vacation home in Italy. and so with COVID, the travel part, we can't do much with that. And realtors jumped on. I think COVID really was the thing that forced everyone to have to look for technology to solve their way out of COVID. And the biggest challenge of COVID is the lack of social connection. And I think that was another thing that's important to me is this is about authenticity. This is about, because these videos are not the highly polished drone videos or the $4,000 video tours that you have to pay for. This is a free app. And the videos are really good quality. It's dead simple to share them. But the videos that come out of it, because you can't edit them, you can't polish them, it levels the playing field for all the realtors. It's not about how much money you have and how much you can spend on marketing. It's really about you and how good are you. You don't need money to sell your personality on Yaza because you're front and center. And I think that authenticity and the fact that it's useful for the top national realtor could use it, as well as someone selling $150,000 properties in a more rural market, right? It's really works for everybody. And it's very, one technical point about the Canyon problem that Will mentioned, the app is very robust. So if it can't get a signal, it's still going to record the video. And later, when it gets it, it'll upload it. You won't even know. You won't even have to care. You can still share it before it's even uploaded. And then the person will just say, video still uploading. So it's just so simple. And what comes out of it is so authentic. And I think that that's what consumers are hungry for, is authenticity.
I think so, man. I think this could be a next iteration of what the portals are all about, which is that's how they started, right? Let me share a property here. And what you're doing here is you're taking it an extra step further and allowing us to connect with the consumer in a deeper sense. I mean, Will, what do you think, man? Do you have any awesome stories that you want to share with us besides the one you already did? Or Dave, either one?
I think to play off what Peter was just saying, for me, and Tristan, I've been a member of Lab Code Agents for years. So I've been watching a lot of your webinars and your videos, and I get your updates on Facebook and whatnot. One of the things we've been hearing for how many years going back is video content creation is king. It's evergreen. Once you produce it, leave it on your website, leave it on your Facebook page, whatever it is. And, I'm sure like a lot of other realtors, I'll get in a motivated state and I'll go out and I'll shoot a video. But, being a former filmmaker, I was always trapped in the sound is terrible, the light is bad, I don't look good, or this, I think what Yaza does, and like Peter said, it kind of evens the playing field for everybody. And because it's such a simple, easy app to use, I'm out on a walk with my dog and I'll see something interesting. I'll open the app. I'll shoot a 15-second video of, there's like these miniature ponies that are in the neighborhood. They're super cute. They give a flavor of what it's like to live in my neighborhood. It's not anything groundbreaking. It's not anything that's going to necessarily sell a house to somebody. But if people who are following me see it, they'll get it. I can hit I love the share button. I can share it to Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, all really quickly. I don't have to go open each individual app. So, content creation, I hit it, I record it, I send it, I'm done. It's less than 2 minutes and I've generated content. And that's what I think so many realtors, they know they're supposed to, but they get overwhelmed with, all the options and the steps that are needed to, record the video and then, share it, whatever platform they're sharing it on. So for me, that's really where I see the benefit of it. And, Peter and I have talked about it. I used to manage apartment buildings, and doing the in and out inspections of an apartment or a home that I was leasing. This was years ago. So, we didn't have cameras on our phones back then. We didn't have phones. But if you can videotape the condition of an apartment prior to moving in, it will really help when you have these discussions with people who are moving out. It's also a permanent, and because it's certified, this is where it was shot, this is when it was shot, it becomes a really good record. And for a realtor, I used it the other day, actually. I had a follow-up inspection on a property in the hillsides in Beechwood Canyon. And we had a structural engineer who was there looking at, one of the foundations that was in question. And I recorded some of the video and I shared it with my client. And that was helpful because she couldn't be there at the time, but it allowed me to share an individual issue and she could hear I didn't put him on camera, but she could hear the structural engineer talking about what the issue was. So whether it's a marketing tool or whether it's a tool that, like Mariana had said, she uses it when people are pouring concrete, exciting foundation issue. It seems like we're all coming back to foundation stuff, but if you can use it for different tools, I can see appraisers using it in the future, as opposed to comparing, photos of properties. If they have a video certified that this was shot 5 years ago or 2 years ago, and the condition of the house and what it looks like now, they can help to, get better valuations. So I see this platform, like where Instagram was whenever it came out 8 years ago, 6 years ago, whatever. I think Yaza is kind of a new, somebody said it earlier, it was like a Instagram meets TikTok or something.
Yeah, definitely.
It's going to grow and it's going to become more useful outside of just real estate, but people are going to build on it and use it. And the fact that it's map-based, if you're in a particular area and you're not familiar with the area and you can just open the app and look, you can explore an area in more depth than you can just with the Google Earth or, looking at photos of an area. How many times have you like, God, I wonder what that street looks like? You go into Google Earth and you kind of get a feel for it. But again, I think having the narration is at least 50% of the value that we express, because, you can take a video, but if you're not interpreting what you're seeing for the viewer, it doesn't really help a lot.
That's very true. Dave, do you want to add anything to this, buddy?
I think you guys pretty much covered it. I like it as a storytelling tool. Video is huge for me in terms of sharing, my sphere of influence, not having to reach out to someone individually, but, them, seeing what I'm doing in the community or sharing something new and, putting your personality out there in an authentic way, I feel like is important to whatever you're doing. But in terms of real estate, I think it's great. But I think it could be used in so many different ways.
I love it, dude. I'm already thinking of ways that we could use it where we just blast it to our sphere and our past clients and have them follow us. I could totally see how if they're on this a lot more, not only are they going to be seeing us, but they're going to be seeing properties. And the more they see properties, the more that possibility of them being enticed to make a move or to sell, right? Sell or buy happens. It's kind of like why Peter started this whole thing, right? He wanted a place in Italy. So,
well, Tristan, I think what's really going to happen is once the clients start discovering it and seeing the value as a receiving of the video, they're going to actually start turning their cameras on and using it and saying, I drove by this house today. I got to find a house that looks exactly like this, but you got to do it in this other neighborhood. Can you get me a house that looks like this? And I'm telling you, within 6 months or a year, people are going to start using this app to tell us what they like, what they don't like, what they love about this neighborhood, because it'll help us communicate better with them if they're looking for a particular style of home or a neighborhood that has a certain vibe. And I think that when they start using it, this is when the app is going to, grow exponentially.
I agree. And Peter or anybody, Brad, where do we go to find the app and how do you spell it? Because I keep on getting that on Facebook and in the chat here, even though we keep on answering it. Give it to me. Go ahead, Peter.
Okay, Yaza, Yaza. Being Californian, of course, it's a Buddhist term for going the extra mile. It actually means technically it's doing more meditation than you're supposed to, sort of going the extra mile. And that was part of the reason the name appealed to me, because it's really using it to go the extra mile and to build that connection with your customers and to showcase yourself. Things coming, we now have the ability to create within the app broadcast channels. So you could create a channel for Lab Coat agents that people could follow and they would see your stuff coming through. And
Cool.
we also have, you know, these private groups. And then the other thing we're doing is we're doing full agency onboarding, where in actually next week's release, we have a better search tool for finding realtors and stuff. But then we also have an ability to add your email. And if, let's say it's all emails from ABC Realtor, right? Then it will automatically group people from that agency or broker into a channel. It'll create a broadcast channel and subscribe everyone to them, and also create a big group chat where they're all in it automatically for them. So that onboarding a whole group of people becomes really easy now if you want to bring your whole agency on or your brokerage on.
How do you envision the future real estate agent using this? So look, a year from now, 2 years from now, how do you envision real estate agents and brokerages and teams using this app? And what has it grown into, if it's grown into anything more by then?
I think by then, our goal is that it's grown into truly a double-sided marketplace. Right now, we're working really hard to get the realtors on there. Mm-hmm. And we're going to rely initially on realtors sharing externally to get their buyers on there. But then later in the year, we'll probably shift our promotion less to the realtors and more spending money to bring buyers onto the platform for the realtors. But first, we have to get the realtors to build the content. And so we need, if people, even if you're just don't have a property, but it's your region, you could start posting about playgrounds and schools and stores and good restaurants and all of that lifestyle selling. I think we will become, my vision is to become the primary tool for really selling lifestyle, which I believe is how real estate is going to be sold if it isn't already. And Yaza is a real powerful tool for communicating lifestyle because it's video, it's raw, and it's people talking, and it's things happening in the streets, and it's workers working on the house, and it's, you know, it's not sterile. It's just engaging. And when you get both the buyers and the sellers on there, which it's going to take a while, it's really hard to get a double-sided marketplace going because it's a catch-22. Realtors don't want to post if there's no buyers. Buyers don't want to look if there's nothing to look at. So we're starting by getting the buyers to, or the realtors to start posting, and then we'll invest our money in bringing customers to those realtors. But first, we have to get the realtors to put their properties on there. And so 2 years from now, I almost see it like a virtual world. I think COVID has forced a behavior change. And whenever a behavior change is forced, when that forcing function disappears, the behavior is still changed. Not as extremely, but it resets at a new normal. Everyone's using the words, the new normal. And I think video is, there are so many startups right now getting funded in video in all sorts of applications. And this is just another dimension of video. This is Zoom on maps, if you want to like call it that. But it's I think we're going to be in a much more work at home world. I think commercial real estate is going to be in a world of hurt, at least in San Francisco. I heard an interview from Zillow's CEO who said they have 4 floors of prime real estate in downtown San Francisco, and they surveyed their employees. Only 14% wanted to come back to the office. So they're going to cut that back to half a floor. And so if we're all working from home, and it's going to be more of a video world. And this is a way for realtors to get a head start in building up information about their neighborhoods, their homes, their properties, and creating this, in a sense, the online version of reality that they can be 17 places at once. And I think agent productivity is going to be massively accelerated once we can get the marketplace to function where we have enough buyers and enough sellers. But for it to work, we got to get the the agents to start posting. And that's why we're here and promoting as much as we can to tell agents that for once there's something coming out of Silicon Valley that's all about them and all for them instead of trying to cut them out of the picture.
I love this, man. I could see us creating, as agents, creating sections or cities or counties or tracks, right, by name. Yep. Say, hey, check this place out. And then you're doing videos of the park and places to hike and things where people can get involved. It's not all about properties. So yes. I love that idea, man. Good job on that.
Can I say something? I see myself using it in the future as a follow-up tool as well. And so as a realtor, I spend, half my days following up with contractors and appraisers and stagers and so on. So, yesterday use case was my assistant went to check on my property to make sure that my contractor had finished the fireplace. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh no, I have to go there again. It's been like 6 weeks. And I was like, I know, why don't you shoot me a Yaza video? And she did. And so the follow-up tool, the appraisals, the inspections, we spend a lot of time doing that when we're in transactions.
Very true. Very true. That's a really good point. I could see this heading into all parts of the transaction in real estate as well.
That's our dream.
Great addition, Mariana. Very good. And for those of you wondering if it's on the Android or Google Play Store, it'll be next year, or you can
early next year
an iPhone and you can have it sooner.
It's right in the App Store now. Search for Yaza. We also have a website, yaza.io. You can read more about us. I'll share a link to a video, which is you guys can watch. It's just 2 minutes.
Awesome.
I made it with iMovie. We're a cheap startup right now, so the music is way too dramatic. But I'll share it now.
Yeah, send it in the chat. I would love to.
Yeah, I just shared it. It's that YouTube link that I sent 1148.
Perfect. I'll share this into the Facebook community as well. And anything else any of you want to add? Brad, Dave, Will, Mariana, Peter, anything here in closing that you guys think is important that we missed?
Be yourself. Use it for however you can put yourself out there and show people who you are, because there's only one you. So just be yourself and enjoy what you're doing.
I just followed you on Yaza, by the way. You popped up when I was scrolling. I was like, oh, I'll follow you.
Word.
Good job on those videos. I'll find you, Will, and I'll find you, Mariana. I'll follow you as well.
Good. Well, I would just say, if you're, not comfortable being on camera, and I'm not, I don't like being on camera, just point the camera at the thing and talk. Because that single thing, I've talked to so many agents, and Tristan, you've probably heard this from hundreds of agents, they don't like the way they look, they don't like the way they sound, so they don't do the video. So fine, just point the camera at the house and talk about it. In the end, you are what you are, but if you're not comfortable putting that out there, then just show what you're talking about, and I think that's enough to get you comfortable. And then at some point you can turn the camera back, and if I was handsome as Dave, then I would turn the camera on myself all the time, but so
that's what he said. Point it at the thing and shoot.
Exactly.
Yeah, and one thing I like to say is when you're doing the tours, think of the phone as the customer. And so talk like you're talking to a customer. Don't talk like you're giving a presentation or it's all polished. Just be like Dave said, be yourself and just talk. And I also think it's helpful to break it into little bits. So you do 30, 45 seconds of the outside, then you go in and do another the living room, the dining room. And then what's nice about that is the way the app organizes them all into a story, and people can click through them quickly. They can see, as I showed in the demo, how they form a story. And that way you're not like 2 minutes into one big long video and then your phone rings and you've screwed it up, right? You can just do little, and you can retake those until you like them right without having to redo the front and the outside. It's just a really user-friendly experience.
Don't be scared of blooping. You know,
Yeah.
like a blooper is what's the most charming about this video content. We had so much fun in East San Jose. We were recording something, and I was like, "What is that lake again? Lake Berryessa, or is it Lake Piedmont?" And it was like, clearly, I didn't know my geography, and it was embarrassing. But instead of like deleting that footage, I was like, you know what? That's me, and that's who people want to see. That's why Chip and Joanna Gaines are so famous, because you can relate to me. Okay, so my voice is a little coarse, and sometimes I curse a little. You know what? Can't always be polished. And like Dave said, I embrace that on Yaza too. I just do me.
I love that. Great job, guys. Well, Peter, thanks for creating Yaza. It's pretty cool, man. You've done a great job with the app.
Thank you.
I've been through it a few times. It's very seamless, easy to use. It's user friendly. And Brad, thanks for putting this together. And agents, Mariana, Will, Dave, thank you so much for being on. I appreciate you. And thanks for your time.
Thank you for having us. Really appreciate it. Thanks
guys.
everybody for watching.
Have a great day, guys.